Another progressive mental episode of the anti-trans crowd gathers apace as always. You know, they sort of self-feed into their own rhetoric and their own sort of very insular little group. They get cut off by everyone. They're convinced that means they're right. Of course it does, yeah, honey, of course it does, yeah. Everyone hating you definitely means you're right and the majority agree, even though everyone hates you. The latest bit of nonsense unleashed on me, because I posted a video mocking how Glinna, the attention seeker of JK's attention, "Mummy, pay attention to me, I know I'm toxic, but I have no insight into why." This complete plonker responds with, "The reality of the hate from the trans mob, everyone's right to be afraid of." And that's what I mean, these people are delusional. I'm not trans. So the person who posted that is completely delusional, completely gone. This is the problem with the rhetoric they've been fed via Russian family policy enforced on the UK by people like Nige and Trump and, you know, all of the other foreigners they absolutely love, even though they claim they're patriots. They've been programmed to ask the question, what is a woman, again and again robotically, even though they are apparently convinced they know what one is, until they don't know what one is at all. And then you get all these gay men, like really repressed men, who are right down that river in Egypt, totally in denial, really incapable of performing with a female or pleasing them, mostly single as a result. They wander around asking any female they're vaguely attracted to, "Are you a man?" They're doing it for two reasons. One's because they're homosexual, and they're very self-hating, and they hate women because they can't please them and they feel they should. So when they say that, in their head it justifies violence against that female. That's one of the reasons they're a criminal element who should be crushed immediately. We need more jail cells. But aside from that, they're actually quite perverted as a group. They go on and on about children's genitalia. They really obsess and fixate in public. They find it a relief to be able to express that perversion in public, because keeping it a secret's pressure, right? Now they can be open and openly talk about all kinds of fine details about little girls' and boys' bits. Make plans to have them to check their gender. You know, that's basically just enabling men to be paid a lot and kids, peak sickness, right? They're actually looking for anyone who does have a, because then they can have and they can get what they so desperately need to be satisfied and pretend to be straight in public because they're utterly and crushingly ashamed of themselves. The consumption of trans porn is really high in red states because these men are sick. That's it. Their brains are flipped. They're utterly obsessed with the thing they profess to hate and they can't get off without it. I'm not transgender, I'm a feminist. The hatred from these men, the danger they pose to women, the perverse and vile things they say about little girls and boys are awful. The fact that they use it to gain trust and get to be alone with children, I've suffered the effects of that. So have other children in my family. It's horrific. And these far-right reform voting groups who claim they aren't abusive, they are. They absolutely are, because I grew up with it. And I've seen the reality of them. They're criminals.